How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Jeff Benjamin with 9 to 5 Mac, and as usual in this video we have a metric ton of new changes and features to talk about for iOS 15. We're talking over 300 features over the course of 2 hours, so I hope you have your popcorn, your coffee, and your index finger, because maybe, just maybe, you'll feel like giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe for this in-depth iOS 15 walkthrough. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in now. But first, a word from our sponsor. MacStadium is the leading provider of cloud solutions trusted by iOS devs, mobile testing teams, and DevOps engineers at thousands of companies around the world. And as more teams work from home, having infrastructure in the cloud lets developers work more efficiently. Of course, MacStadium has Intel-based Macs, but when you're ready for Apple Silicon, there's hundreds of M1 minis in their data centers with multiple configs and instant activation. The only cloud provider to support and scale virtualization solutions on Mac hardware, you can create environments with platforms like VMware, Virtu's Anka, and their own Kubernetes-based Orca. Get ready to accelerate and streamline the delivery of Teradici CAS with PCOIP support to Mac customers across the globe. Click the link in the description to get started. Special thanks to MacStadium for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. So iOS 15 brings about quite a few setup experience changes. For instance, now in Software Update, you get an iOS 15 icon, which is a nice touch. Another new setup experience related new feature is the ability to prepare for your new iPhone. So if you go to Settings, you go to General, and you go to Reset, you're going to see a new option under Reset. Prepare for new iPhone. Now this would be something that you would want to use on the old iPhone that you're switching from. So you would just go to prepare for new iPhone. It will walk you through the steps necessary to get ready to move over to that new iPhone. So the iPhone 13 in this case. So you just tap get started, and then it'll upload your apps and data to iCloud. And then Apple tells you how to use your phone to quickly sign in to your new iPhone. And then it talks about trading in or recycling your older iPhone. So that's how you prepare to get your new iPhone. Now, if you go to iCloud settings, you can check your iCloud backup, and you can see it's already initiated that backup in preparation. And now Apple will actually provide you with temporary iCloud storage to facilitate the successful transfer of your data to your new device. So even if you're running low on storage, Apple will temporarily comp you the storage necessary to make the move. Now, one of the coolest new features in iOS 15 is the new Hello First boot screen that you see when you first turn your iPhone running iOS 15 on. Now, this is obviously inspired by the original Macintosh, which inspired the iMac. The recent iMacs have this screensaver as well, and I think it's a very nice touch. What do you guys think? And now more content is transferred over when moving from an Android device. Now your photo albums, your files and folders, and accessibility settings will make the move with you. And for Android users migrating over to iOS, it's easier than ever to make the move thanks to the new app discoverability QR code. So this makes it basically so that you can quickly find the necessary Move to iOS app via the Google Play Store. So all you do, use the QR code, it points you directly to Google Play to download Move to iOS, which is super simple. And once you've successfully moved over to your new iPhone, Apple pops this little notification up on your older device, giving you some options of what to do for the older iPhone. Now, when going through the setup process for your new iPhone, for instance, in this case, I'm just going to use an iCloud backup and restore from that. You're going to notice a new screen to make this your iPhone. And basically what this does is it spells out all the default settings that you have set here. Now, you can always go in and select customize settings, but what Apple wants to do here is basically show you what all the default settings are, so you're not left wondering, well, what are the default settings? It clearly shows them to you right there, which is a great new addition. Now, if you were enrolled in an iOS beta, Apple gives you the opportunity to re-enroll with the new iPhone. So you just tap continue. It's not quite working yet in this beta, but what a really handy option that is. I'll definitely use that. Okay, so let's talk about some really cool design and UI updates. First of all, you get inset cells. So you see how there's a border here in the settings app and other areas around iOS. This actually sort of debuted back in iOS 14, however. Now the time picker, it was kind of controversial how Apple changed the time picker in iOS 14, but Apparently they're listening because as you can see, we have the older style time picker back in effect here on iOS 15. But not just that, there's a secret hidden behind the surface. You tap it and yes, you get the ability to direct input the time just like you could on iOS 14. So it's sort of a compromise, sort of the best of both worlds in design. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. Now, instead of the red record audio status button in the upper left hand corner, when recording audio with things like the Voice Memos app, now you have an orange indicator there. And the hotspot status bar indicator is now green instead of blue. And there's an updated location indicator in the upper left-hand corner as well. A subtle change to be sure. Now we're going to talk about some really exciting stuff. All right, so the home screen, starting with the new iOS 15 wallpaper. Now, the wallpaper admittedly isn't all that exciting. I mean, obviously someone worked hard on the design, but it is sort of an abstract look, and I think it'll be a little bit polarizing. I personally don't think it's all that bad, but it's just not super exciting, right? It does have a dark mode version, as you can see right here, which looks pretty cool. What do you think about it? All right, so let's talk about the new default home screen view. So this is very interesting. This is maybe what we'll see on the box of the iPhone 13 once it comes out. So if I reset the home screen layout, this is the new default for iOS. Yes, widgets are there by default, and not just regular widgets, but stacks, right? So that's pretty interesting. Maybe we'll see this on the iPhone 13. Now, let's talk about being able to reorder home screen pages, because this is something that I was wanting all throughout the iOS 14 release cycle, right? So with iOS 14, it brought about the ability to hide or disable home screen pages, but you weren't allowed to reorder those pages. So that has come to iOS 15. So all we need to do is go into edit mode. So we'll just tap and hold on our home screen, tap the page dots, and there you see all the various home screen pages. All right, so now watch this. Tap and hold a page and then drag it to reorder just like that. That is something I've been wanting for a long time, and now we finally have it. So you can see I've reordered the pages. I put the first page last and the last page first. So now we're going to simply swipe through, and you see the Tips app is first and the first page is last. Oh, that sounded like a tongue twister there. All right, so now we're going to reorder just like that. Super simple, super easy. You gotta love it. Now you can also remove a home screen page for the very first time. Now in iOS 14, you could hide a home screen page. Super easy to do. You simply tap the little checkbox to uncheck, and that way you hide those home screen pages. So now I'll only display the 3 remaining pages, and you'll get a message saying that all future apps will be placed in the app library that you download. So you see those 3 pages there. Let's go back into edit view. And then you can simply recheck to get those pages back that you hid. And there we go. But now watch this. So watch when you uncheck a page to hide it. Watch what happens. Watch what appears in the upper left-hand corner. You see that little minus sign? You tap that, and there you can remove a page outright. So this is a permanent thing. It won't delete any apps on that page. Those apps will be stored in the app library, but those pages are done for. They're removed. So there's no unhiding because they're gone. This is going to have a really big effect on a new feature called Focus that we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's a big win for customization. All right, so let's talk about deleting offloaded apps. So we're going to go into Settings, General, iPhone Storage, find an app that we want to offload. And basically what offloading does is free up the storage used by the app, but keeps its associated documents and data. So if you want to reinstall it, you get all that data back really easily. So you can see on the home screen, you get the little download button by the podcast app, signifying that it's offloaded. But watch what you can do now. You can actually delete the app while it's offloaded. Previously, you couldn't do that from the home screen, but now here in iOS 15, you can. So there we go. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. Focus. It's such a cool new feature. It's basically do not disturb on steroids, right? It is very granular control over notifications, over the way your iPhone looks, allowing you to stay focused, hence the name, on what's important at any given time or specific situation based on the apps you're using. So you have different levels: do not disturb, personal, sleep, work, and you can add your own custom focuses as well. So you have some focus suggested setups right here. Right when you start focus, it's going to ask you, what do you want to focus on? You can focus on driving, fitness, gaming, reading, or like I said, create your own custom focus. And again, this is like do not disturb on steroids. So we have our reading focus. This will turn on automatically when you open an app to read. It'll also do things like silence notifications, share your status with others. You have other focuses like gaming that'll turn on automatically when a wireless controller is connected, or when you're doing a workout, or when driving. Do not disturb when driving, right? So you also can create your own custom focus with its own color, with its own name and icon. And you'll notice a new focus lock screen shortcut. So when you long press there, you can create your focus or switch between focuses. So I can tap reading to disable like that, re-enable just like that. You notice the icon is custom based on the focus. So do not disturb has the moon, reading has a little book, your custom is going to have your custom glyph, etc. Now what's really cool is that you can enable focus to sync across all your devices. So when you turn a focus on or off, the same thing will happen across all your devices. Notice reading off on my other iPhone, do not disturb on my iPhone. And it makes sense because you don't want an app on another device interrupting your focus time. So here's what I was alluding to when I was speaking about hiding home screen pages, really matching home screen pages using focus. So listen up because this is awesome. So I'm going to drag the News app from the app library to its own home screen page. But what's really interesting about this is that you see the News app here on its own home screen page. Swipe over. Guess what you see also on the first page? The News app. So you can have multiple instances of a single app on multiple home screen pages, or even on the same home screen page if you wanted to. I could have 5 news apps across multiple home screen pages, or on the same page if I wanted to. The same thing goes for books in any app. So you see I have books on multiple home screens in this instance. Now let's spice it up a bit. Let's put a couple of widgets on that page as well. So I have the News app widget and the Weather app widget, just like that. I think that looks pretty good. So here's where focus comes into play. So let's go to the focus settings and let's customize the reading focus. All right, so let's go ahead and tap on reading. So you can see all the various things you can set up here, but notice home screen for customization. I'm going to enable custom pages. Now I can choose pages, and this is where it all goes down. So now I'm going to just choose that one page, and that custom page is the only page that will show while this focus is active. So watch this. This is awesome. So I'm going to enable that reading focus now, and you're going to see something really cool. Let's try it out. Let's tap reading. Here we go. You ready? You already saw it in the background. There we go. A single page, folks. Just that one page. Because we're in the reading focus. You can customize your home pages thanks to the focus modes, boosted by the ability to have multiple copies of the same app on your home screen. That's so cool. But in terms of granular customization, it doesn't stop there. So what we're going to do now, disable that reading focus. I'm going to edit the pages. Now watch this. I'm going to disable that home screen page. And now you can see that home screen page is disabled. It doesn't show up at all, but watch what happens when I enable the reading focus. Ah, that is cool. So that home screen page is always going to be hidden unless I'm in the reading focus, and then it appears. So that is such a powerful new feature in iOS 15 that allows for insane amounts of customization. Now some details here. The active focus profile that you switch to will appear in the status bar just like that. So you can easily see which focus you're in at any given time just by looking at the top. Now you also have the ability to allow interruptions from people or from applications. So if you want a certain app to always be able to send you notifications, you can enable that interruption for that particular focus. And you could do the same thing for people as well. If you always want a certain person to be able to send you notifications during this focus, you can do so. And notice the status. This is such a cool new feature because focus just isn't about you on your device, but it's also about helping other people to understand that you're trying to focus or that you're in a focus mode. So if we go to settings and privacy, you can see, or you can give apps access to tell other people that you have notifications silenced. So right now the Messages app is enabled. So now let's turn on our reading focus. And now let's see what happens when someone tries to text me while I have this focus enabled. Someone running iOS 15, of course. So you can see the notification. Jeff has notification silenced with focus. I sent, and the notification was delivered, but it was delivered quietly. So I'm not alerted while I'm focusing. But you can see the option to notify anyway. So if you really want to get through, you tap notify anyway and bam, there you go. And that message, haha, that's an important message. If you guys haven't subscribed to 95 Mac, be sure to do so right now. There's also an auto reply option for focus statuses, and there's automation. So this is also really cool stuff. Like I said, very granular. So let's go and turn on some automations. There's smart activation, which will automatically turn on do not disturb at relevant times throughout the day based on signals like your location, app usage, and more. So it will smartly enable the focus mode. For instance, if you always read when you go to the library, focus mode will turn on when it sees you're at the library, etc. Now you can also set up manual automations. So you can go in there and schedule a time just like normal with do not disturb. Same thing with the location, but here's something really cool. You have an automation that will turn on the focus mode whenever you run a particular app. So it's as easy as selecting the app. For instance, select Sneaky Sasquatch, and that's done. So you just tap done, and now whenever I launch Sneaky Sasquatch, that automation will run do not disturb just like that automatically. What do you guys think about focus thus far? Awesome, right? So there's options associated with focus as well. You can dim the lock screen, delay delivery, hide notification badges when focus modes are enabled. So let me just show you the dim lock screen here. You can see it's much darker than normal while the focus is enabled. And notifications that aren't whitelisted will be just sent to Notification Center until the focus is turned off, so you're not disturbed mid-gaming, for instance, or mid-reading. So you can still read those notifications. You'll just have to invoke Notification Center just like that, right? So you're not going to be disturbed while doing something important that you're focusing on. And then finally, not having that mental weight associated with notification badges, you can hide those badges while focusing. Now, there are tons of new widget features within iOS 15. Of course, the default widgets at the top of the screen you see here are new for iOS 15. This is the new default home screen that we talked about earlier, so worth mentioning again. You also have brand new widgets like the Find My widget, which is new for iOS 15. And that allows you to locate people and also locate different devices as well that are compatible with the Find My network. So you can see my bike rack key. And in this particular case, all of these devices are AirTags. So you can see my bike rack key there. I can switch items just by doing that, editing the widget and selecting the item that I want to track on that particular view. Now, you also have a new contacts widget as well, and this contacts widget allows you to check the status of people that are in your contacts. You also have new Game Center widgets, which allow you to pick up where you left off on your favorite games, quickly access recently played games, and you also have 3 widgets dedicated to explore games that your friends have recently played as well. So that is an interesting new widget. What I like about this particularly, though, is you get a nice little artwork associated with the games that you're playing. For instance, on this full-size widget, the most recent game is going to appear at the top, and then you have all of your other games there listed as well. And you simply tap like that to load the game back up, and you can see Do Not Disturb, the focus mode automatically initiate because we have that gaming focus enabled as well. And there's a new App Store widget, which allow you to add widgets to your home screen pertaining directly to games and apps on the App Store. There's also editorial content that you can quickly access via this App Store widget. So I'm going to add this full-size widget. If I can grab it here to the, oh man, if I can grab this widget, that would be nice. Maybe not. Maybe it's just not going to crop. There we go. Okay. And I'll just put it on this home screen page here. And this allows us to, like I said, view editorial content For instance, this year's ADA winners. Congratulations to all those winners. And then you see the sleep widget, which is a simple small widget to show your sleep schedule and to see how you slept. And if I tap that, it takes me directly to the sleep section of the health app. So you can go in there and customize that if you'd like. And if you like to have your mail front and center, you can add the mail widget to your home screen. You can also filter this by different inboxes, also filter it by VIP, which it defaults to. But if you go in there and edit that widget, you're going to see choose a mailbox. So you just tap on that and you can choose any of your configured mailboxes just like that. So I'll put unread there, and there we go. All my unread email, all that important email that I have right there, right? All right, so you also have the redesigned calendar widget, and this is cool because it gives you a month calendar. Previously, you didn't have the month calendar option. You also have Up Next, that is more or less the same here. And the Up Next feature with the month calendar embedded as well, so that's kind of cool. And then you have your large events calendar. And then finally, you have a new one for iOS 15. And that is more of a 2-day workday calendar. All right, so let's talk about additional widgets here. The updated battery widget. Not really a lot has changed here. Just some of the glyphs have changed. You'll notice the headphone glyph is a little bit different. More or less the same though. And then you have an updated weather widget. Very similar, although you notice some differences with font weight, particularly with the current temperature. And then you can set specific folders to the Files widget, which is cool. That's a new feature for iOS 15. So you also see a nice new design, sort of a shelf-like design, sort of looks like the old newsstand app there. But if you go in and edit widgets, now you can change the location and specify a particular location or even a tag if you want to. And then you can go in here and choose a folder and drill deep down into the folder structure of the Files app if you wish to do so. So just like that. Very nice looking update and functional update as well for the Files app. And then you have a new widget edit view. So if you go in and edit a stack, you can see a new method for cycling through the stacks, rearranging the stacks here. So you also have Smart Rotate and widget suggestions below. So your widget suggestions, you can toggle those on or off. In Smart Rotate, you can do so as well. Just like that. Now you may be wondering, how do you rearrange the order of the smart stacks? Well, there's a new method for doing that. You no longer have those drag handles with the sheet, but now you simply tap, hold, and drag to rearrange in your preferred order. Very simple, straightforward, to the point there. So let's talk about Control Center. And first and foremost, we want to talk about the updated remote application, or remote widget, I should say. So first and foremost, you see the updated glyph, which corresponds to the new Apple TV 4K second generation. You see now the little buttons for controlling the volume, which you could do beforehand, but now you can control Siri using the side button. Now there's a built-in mute button, there's a built-in power button, there's an updated back button, formerly the menu button, and there are built-in channel controls as well. So this is definitely an upgrade over the previous remote widget, and like I said, corresponds well with the new Siri remote. You can also access that remote directly from the Now Playing widget just by tapping here, and you can see right there it's advertising pressing and holding the side button to make your request with Siri, which is really cool to have that built in. It's almost like having the real remote. Now, let's talk about the smaller screen mirroring button. And there's a reason why that's smaller, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But you'll also notice iMac there. That's peculiar, right? We'll talk about that in our full Mac walkthrough for macOS Monterey, so be sure to check that out as soon as it goes live. Make sure you have that notification bell active. Now, the reason why that screen mirroring button is so small is because Do Not Disturb grew up. It is now Focus, and it gets a larger button. So you can access the Focus, which we've already talked about in depth, but you can access Focus directly from Control Center, toggle that on or off. Now, here's another really interesting thing that you'll find in iOS 15. If you enable music recognition via Shazam, the Shazam shortcut that you can add via Control Center settings. It works just like before, right? It listens for now playing music and it will report via a banner notification exactly what it hears. But the cool thing in iOS 15 is when you long press on the shortcut, you see history of your music recognition. So all the songs that it's recognized, the history will be right there. You can tap on that, get more details. And of course, you can also delete your history by swiping from right to left, just like this. Super nice, right? Now here's another Control Center related feature, new text size options when you enable the text size toggle in Control Center. So let's go ahead and do that. So when you enable text size in Control Center, you're going to find a quick toggle, which is symbolized by the little A characters there. Now in iOS 15, the text size toggle has a trick up its sleeve, and I'm going to show you that right now using the Music app. So when I invoke the text size toggle, you'll notice two options for all apps and for music only, because we have Music app open. So basically what I'm saying here is that you can individually, on an app by app basis, alter the text size. So for instance, music, you can have its custom text size, and its text size settings will be independent of all other apps. So if you just need the text in the Music app to be large and nowhere else, you can do that in iOS 15. So just to prove this, I have the App Store open, and its text size is normal, while the text size in the Music app is still very large. So I'm going to go ahead and alter that back to default. And there we go. That is such a cool new feature. Let's talk about Apple ID, starting with iCloud Data Recovery Service. Now, iCloud secures your data by storing it in an encrypted format. If you forget your password or your device passcode, then iCloud Data Recovery Service can help you get your data back. So Apple will need to maintain access to some of your data, and it can help you restore most of your data, including photos, notes, reminders, device backups, etc. Now, end-to-end items like health data, ScreenTime information, keychain access will not be able to be accessed by Apple or recovered, but other things like I mentioned, notes, reminders, photos, of course, can be recovered using iCloud Data Recovery Service. Now let's talk about the new Recovery Contact. This new feature allows you to choose a friend or family member as a recovery contact for your account. So if you can't access your data, you can call that contact, follow the instructions, and they can help you gain access back to your account. So really, these are two new options that help users gain access back to at least some of their data. And then finally, there is the new Digital Legacy program where you can add someone you trust to access your data after you die. I know that sounds a little bit morbid, but a lot of people don't really think about that sort of thing. So you can add someone you trust, share your access key, and then pass down your digital legacy to that individual or multiple individuals. So I'm adding a legacy contact right now, and there we go. I gave Jeff my access to my account. Hopefully, I won't have to use this anytime soon because that would be very sad, but it's nice to kind of have that sort of thing taken care of, sort of like insurance, if you will. So now you simply print a copy of your access key, which I will definitely be censoring in this case, but that access key really is the key to get into your data after you die. So here's my legacy contact. I can remove that access key. I can view that access key. If I remove it, then keep in mind that restricts access and that person will no longer be able to access your legacy data. Now let's talk about iCloud settings. So if you go to Settings, iCloud, you're going to notice on the iCloud tab, your current iCloud storage plan, in my case, 2 terabytes. You also notice that Mail in iCloud settings has been renamed to iCloud Mail. So it just makes it a little bit more clear that that's what it is. And the apps using iCloud heading text has now been removed. It's a subtle change, but it's a change nonetheless. Now, iCloud Backup, Keychain, and iCloud Drive have been promoted closer to the top of the iCloud settings interface. Back in iOS 14, they were listed near the bottom. So I think iCloud Backup's pretty important. Makes sense to have it near the top. Now, this new feature is really interesting, the ability to perform iCloud backups over cellular connections. That may sound absurd given how big some iCloud backups are, but with crazy fast 5G connections, it doesn't seem all that crazy to me. So here you can see I'm connected to 5G and I was performing that backup over that cellular connection. Now, when I turn off backup over cellular, guess what? Can no longer back up. Now let's talk briefly about iCloud Plus. You'll notice the new iCloud Plus logo or text header in the iCloud settings, but you'll also notice iCloud Private Relay. Now this is a brand new iOS 15 feature that you'll find in iCloud settings. Right now it's enabled, so we're going to go into Private Relay, and basically what this does is keep your internet activity private. It hides your IP address and Safari browsing activity from network providers and websites to keep your data private. Sort of works like a VPN in a sense. I'll have much more details on this in an upcoming video, but you also have the ability to preserve your approximate location based on IP or use a broader location. Now, the disadvantage of using that broader location is that websites that provide local content will no longer be able to do that as accurately. So sometimes there's trade-offs there, privacy versus convenience. Now, when you disable Private Relay, you get this really scary looking message telling you all networks and website providers will be able to view and monitor your internet activity. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a common knowledge, but Apple is really going above and beyond to make its users aware that this is the case. Now you'll find more granular Private Relay toggles in both cellular and Wi-Fi settings. So here's my Wi-Fi settings. I can disable or enable Private Relay for Wi-Fi, and then I could do the same thing for cellular. So you can do one or the other, all or neither. It's up to you. Now, another really cool feature of iCloud Plus is the ability to hide my email. Now, basically what this is basically an extension of Sign In with Apple. Remember, with Sign In with Apple, you had the ability to use private email addresses so that it would mask or keep your real email address secure and forward all your email to the real email address. So this allows you to take advantage of the Hide My Email functionality without necessarily using Sign In with Apple. So essentially it's debundling the Hide My Email feature to make it more available and more accessible to all Apple users. So you can see the private email, I can tap Use Different Address, and it generates randomly these email addresses. So when I find one I like, I tap Continue, I can give it a label. So I'll just say spam, use this to sign up for coupons. So next, so this will be my go-to spam email address that I use for signing up for coupons and things like that across the web. So I can just go into spam and then manage that particular address. I can rename the label, I can add a note, and of course, I can see the actual email address where it's forwarded to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that email address and I'm going to send myself an email. As you can see there, it's in my outbox. And let's see what happens. Do I actually get it? Looks like I did. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's a great way to keep your email secure, free of spam. So now I'm going to deactivate. That doesn't actually delete it, but it just deactivates it. You'll find it under inactive addresses, and there you can go in there, either reactivate it or delete it. It's up to you. So that will permanently delete that Hide My Email address. Just like that. Another benefit of iCloud Plus is enhanced HomeKit secure video. So previously there was a limit of up to 5 HomeKit secure video cameras when subscribed to the $9.99 a month 2 terabyte plan. But now with iCloud Plus, when you pay $9.99 a month for 2 terabytes of iCloud storage, you get access to unlimited cameras. And now there is custom email domain support. So with iCloud Plus, custom domain support is now included. That means I can use my own domain name for iCloud email. All right, so let's talk about privacy and security in iOS 15, starting with the app privacy report. This is a brand new feature. You can find it under the privacy settings, scroll all the way down, and you'll see record app activity. So this is the app privacy report that saves a 7-day summary of when apps access your data, like your microphone, your location, and you can also see when apps or websites you visit within these apps contact domain. So this is going to be a great new privacy-focused feature for advanced users that really can put some pressure on app developers and hold them accountable for misusing user data. So right now, there's not a lot out there that you can see, but this is basically an example of what App Privacy Report will look like once it does officially launch with iOS 15. Super cool new feature, and it's built right into iOS. Now, another new feature is secure paste. So remember back in iOS 14 when you would copy and paste text from one app to another, and then you got that little message at the top notifying you? Well, in iOS 15, developers can allow you to paste content from one app to another without having to access what you've copied until you want them to have access. So in that case, in iOS 15, there's no longer a need to show that message. Now, there is also limited photo library access improvements. So developers are going to be able to offer smarter functionality. For example, recent photo folders and album selection, even when you granted limited access to your photos library. In other words, you can expect limited access photos to be a lot more usable and not so restrictive to the point where you don't even want to fool with using it. And that's kind of where we're at with iOS 14 right now. And in iOS 15, you'll see access control to nearby interactions under the privacy panel, which appears to be able to control access to ultra wideband, which is used to measure precise distance between your iPhone and other devices or items. And don't forget, there's that focus settings panel within privacy that gives access to apps to let them know that you have notifications silenced. But here's probably my favorite new privacy-focused feature in iOS 15, and that is one-time password integration. So this means you no longer have to rely on a third-party separate authentication app like you have been up until now. So this allows you to either scan a QR code or enter a setup key to start using one-time passwords with your favorite applications and services. So let's go ahead and just walk through this briefly and show you how to set it all up. So you can enter a setup key if you want to. You can get that key from your authenticator app if you already have one-time password set up within that app, or you can simply scan a QR code. So that's the option I'm going to choose here. So you can take a picture, or I have that QR code displayed right here within my Google account. So if I long press, look what I can do. I can choose open in settings. And that's going to import that QR code directly within settings for this particular account, which will allow me to set up one-time passwords with Google. So this is Google that I'm setting up here. So once you select open in settings, you link it to the right account, and there you go. You get that verification code that automatically resets and generates a new code automatically. So this is so nice to have. Talk about a quality of life improvement when it comes to using and logging in to your favorite apps and services. So notice now, of course, I already have my username and password in the keychain. So I'm logging in. Here's where this is handy. You tap that and look what we have. Verification code for google.com. Just tap it. It automatically inserts that code. It is completely seamless. So much better than using a third-party application. And you'll also see a new VPN and device management preference panel under settings general. So previously you just had VPN there, but now it kind of bundles that together. There's your normal VPN configuration, but that's now bundled together with sign in to work or school account. So all that's in one place under VPN and device management. All right, so let's talk about Siri in iOS 15. One of the coolest new features is offline support. So when invoking Siri in airplane mode on iOS 14, as you can see, Siri not available, right? But here I'm in airplane mode on iOS 15. Watch what happens. I can invoke Siri, ask Siri to switch to dark mode, just like that. And now there's on-device speech processing, which processes the entire request right there on your local device. And what's the result of that? Well, much faster on-device processing. You can ask Siri to do all sorts of things, and you're going to notice that it's much more responsive than it has been in the past. So asking Siri to do simple things like starting a timer or switch between dark and light mode or switch between apps is so much faster now. And now with Siri, you can share on-screen items. So if you're reading an article, you can say, hey, share this with such and such, and it'll actually get a little snippet for that article and send it to that user. Super simple, super easy, right? But what if the item cannot be shared? For instance, say you want to share your desktop. Well, Siri will give you the option of taking a screenshot and sending that instead. I can only send screenshots from here, and look, it takes it automatically, ready to send, just like that. And now Siri can refer to contacts on screen. So I could say something like, message them and tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes. And Siri will respond accordingly. And finally, in iOS 15, Siri can now announce notifications right in your AirPods or your Beats headphones. So you just go to Settings, Siri, and search and announce notifications, enable the toggle, and this works with second generation AirPods and some Beats headphones. And of course, it'll work with AirPods Max as well. So announce when connected to headphones, and then you can individually enable the applications that you want announcement notifications from. So I can go in here and say, hey, I want announcement notifications from Instagram, or I want announcement notifications from, I don't know, any app in your list. And now you can control smart home devices at a specific time. So you can say something like lock the door at 10 p.m. and there you go. So basically what you're doing here is setting up an automation with your voice. It would be just like going into the Home app and setting up an automation manually, except you're doing so via Siri. And many users will be happy to know that there's new neural text-to-speech in more languages, like Swedish, for instance. What time is it?
Jag tror inte att jag förstår.
Now, you'll also notice new features with the AirPods. For instance, the ability to adjust AirPod tone volume. So you know the little tone that you get when your battery is about to die? Well, you can adjust the tone volume for your AirPods now. Just go into AirPods settings under accessibility, and there you'll see tone volume at the bottom. And you can adjust the slider to adjust the volume. Now, as we previously discussed, one of the really cool features is the ability to announce calls and notifications when you have your AirPods like AirPods Max connected. Such a nice feature to have. And now when you tap the info button under Bluetooth for your AirPods, you'll find warranty information. So in this case, my limited warranty expires on December 13th, 2021. Now let's talk about some miscellaneous features. I was really excited to be able to try this out. Drag and drop support, like really, drag and drop support comes to the iPhone finally. So now I'm dragging and I'm selecting multiple photos, and I can still hold those photos when I move across iOS to a different app. And I could just release like that to drag and drop them into the Files app. That is such a nice feature to have. Finally, we have this ability on the iPhone. I never understood why the iPad could do this, but the iPhone could not. And you could do the same thing directly from something like Spotlight, for instance. So dragging a photo directly from Spotlight, dragging that into the Files app, just like that. Such a nice feature to finally have. And in iOS 15, you'll notice an updated AirPrint dialog when you print to a compatible Air printer. So let's go ahead and tap print there. Here's the new dialog. A little bit different. You'll notice things like paper size and orientation are now options. So if we tap on paper size, you can see A3, A4, letter, legal, etc. And of course, you can choose between landscape and portrait orientation right from the AirPrint interface. Now, when you tap to select your printer and you tap the little info button, you'll see additional details such as presets. So you can go in there and set up black and white preset or default settings. You can also change your media and quality. So you can choose your media type, archival, bond paper, envelope, cotton even. So quite a few significant changes, quality of life improvements for people who use AirPrint on a regular basis. This is going to help you guys a lot. Now you'll be happy to know that you can still pinch out on the document to open it in PDF view. And now in iOS 15, you can actually search that PDF directly using the little search button in the upper right-hand corner. So if I just tap that little guy, I can type in a search term, type in renders. There we go, and it finds my search term just like that. Here's another sort of random but very nice quality of life improvement for iOS. Now in the default video player, yes, you tap the ellipsis and you see that playback speed is now a thing in the default video player. So now he'll jump off the building 2 times as fast. If you're running the HomePod beta, you'll also notice a new HomePod reduce bass setting. So no doubt your neighbors, even those in your own household, may be very happy to find that new reduce bass setting for HomePod. So let's talk about Markup. So in iOS 15, when you take a screenshot, Markup isn't automatically enabled. There's a new button at the top of the interface to enable Markup. And there you'll find a new accessibility description option. So you can tap that and use that for voiceover. So I'm going to type in a description for this particular screenshot. And now if I use voiceover in accessibility, it'll actually read that description to me. Now, when editing photos, Markup is now easily available. It's no longer hidden behind that ellipsis, but it's always available in the upper right-hand corner of the editing interface. Now let's talk about one of the standout features of iOS 15, and that is live text. So to enable it, go to Settings, Camera, and there you'll see the live text toggle. So let me show you how live text works in photos, particularly a screenshot. So here in the Markup interface, you'll see the live text button at the bottom right-hand corner. Just tap on that and look, it highlights all the text, and that text is selectable right there within that photo. So I can literally select that text, copy it, and then paste that text from the photo into another app. Now, it doesn't just work for screenshots, it works with any photo that contains text, just like this one right here. So there are no buttons to press or anything. You can just start selecting text automatically, just like that. And what's crazy is that live text even works with a camera view. So this is a live camera here. Just tap the little live text button in the bottom right-hand corner. I can select that text. I can translate on the fly. It's just crazy. This is going to be such a useful feature. And look, live text, I can even dial a number. It'll automatically recognize that, turn it into a link, and I can dial that number. So say you're pointing it at a billboard or something as you're traveling. Well, this is going to make that super simple and super easy to make that phone call. Now, visual lookup will automatically highlight recognized objects within photos. So you just tap the information button or swipe up, and there you'll see the visual lookup icon. You just tap on that, and that will use Siri knowledge to tell you about the objects in that photo. For instance, flowers or animals, landmarks, etc. So it does a pretty good job. Those hydrangeas there are beautiful. And of course, you have your cosmos. Any flower fans on the channel, let me know down below in the comment section. Starting to get my green thumb lately. Of course, it also notices landmarks and, of course, precious little animals. Miss my little buddy right there. What in tarnation? Just forget you saw that. Now you can also insert text from the camera. So you open up the copy paste menu, select text from camera, and then you can simply tap on the text to insert that text. Now my apologies if I pronounce any of this wrong, but you have new dictionaries for India. So you have the Urdu English dictionary. That's a new dictionary that's added in iOS 15. You also have the Telugu English. My Indian friends, if you're watching this, let me know how my pronunciation is. Hopefully I got this right. You also have the Tamil English. And then last but not least, you have Gujarati English. Shout out to all the really cool people in Gujarat. You also have a new idiom dictionary for China mainland. The only one I really know, the only idiom is like mama hoo hoo, horse horse, tiger tiger, meaning so-so. At least I think I got it right. All my Chinese friends, let me know down below in the comment section what you think. And then finally, we have the new dictionaries for Hong Kong English. So that is also new in iOS 15. So let's talk about the keyboard. Yes. The magnification loop for text cursor selection is back. And now it is so much easier to select text in iOS 15 because of that magnification loop. It was sorely missing, and I'm so happy that Apple brought it back. No longer will your finger block your text cursor. And now when you want to add a new keyboard to iOS, previously you may have had to kind of like swipe and scroll through and find the exact keyboard that you're looking for. But now when you add a new keyboard, you have the ability to search for the exact language that you're looking for. So I just tapped the little search box here, and then you can type in the language that you're looking for, and this search will actually search multiple levels within each language group. So that is really cool. So I'm going to just type in VNI, which is a popular new input for Vietnamese text on computers. You also have VIQR, which allows you to write Vietnamese using ASCII characters. For iOS 15, on-device dictation is now available in more regions and more languages, including Arabic, French, German, Italian, Japanese, and many more. And for those users with on-device dictation, you now have continuous dictation. Previously, dictation was limited to up to 60 seconds and then it would automatically stop. But now you have continuous dictation so you can dictate text indefinitely. So I have iOS 14 on the left, iOS 15 on the right. I've sped it up so we can get close to that timeout. And there we go. It times out on the iOS 14 device, but I can still dictate text on iOS 15. All right, so let's talk about lock screen, and let's talk about the blur on the lock screen. Here's how it used to look on iOS 14 with that line, and here's how it looks on iOS 15. You could see that blur at the top instead where your notifications roll off. And you'll feel a new haptic touch on the lock screen notifications. Pretty simple. And there's a new scheduled summary feature for all of your notifications that you don't want to necessarily receive immediately. And this feature can be found in settings and notifications, scheduled summary. You turn that on, and there you can choose the frequency, the schedule, and the apps that appear in that summary. So now you're not going to be overwhelmed with notification after notification for apps that maybe don't have as high of a priority in your life. How many times the scheduled summary is delivered? It defaults to 2 times. So for each summary, you can choose the time it arrives. You can just use the little time picker here. I'm going to choose, how about 5:10 p.m. How random is that? And then you could choose the apps that appear in the summary. So applications that maybe don't have a higher priority, you can make sure those are enabled. All right, so the time is almost there, 5:10. Let's test it out. There's our evening summary, complete with Twitter direct messages. Accessibility has always been one of the hallmarks of iOS, and that's no different here in iOS 15. As I mentioned earlier, you now have voiceover image descriptions in Markup. So you simply go into Markup, tap description after you hit the plus sign, and there you can type in your image description. But now I'm going to show you how to actually use these image descriptions with voiceover. So I'm going to enable voiceover with Siri. There we go. All right, so let's get started.
Photo. The Van Moof S3 electric bike. May 26th. Bicycle. Outdoor. Tire.
So not only will VoiceOver speak my image description that I created, but it also speaks about the image in the photo itself. And now in iOS 15, you have sound actions for switch control. Accessibility is just so amazing on iOS and iOS 15 in particular. So if you go to accessibility, switch control, we're going to go ahead and enable that, and now you will see new sound actions. So you just tap on switches, add a new switch, select sound, and look at all the different sounds you have to flip a switch. So I'm going to use that cluck sound, as you heard me practicing, right? I'm going to use that cluck sound to actually invoke an action, basically opening up the app switcher. Look at that. Using the cluck sound, nothing but my voice, I'm able to invoke the app switcher. Accessibility is amazing. Now you also get new background sounds with accessibility in iOS 15. So if you go to accessibility settings, go to audio visual, tap on background sounds, you can now enable several different background sounds to mask unwanted environmental noise. So these sounds can minimize distractions, help you to focus, stay calm, or rest. So here's the bright noise sound. You can adjust the volume. You can even use when media is playing. So you have balance noise, bright noise, dark noise, ocean, rain, stream. I think ocean would be pretty soothing. I particularly think I like stream and rain though. Which one's your favorite? Yeah, I think stream is definitely the one I would go to. That's very peaceful sounding. And like I showed you earlier, you can also play background sounds with media at the same time. Let's talk about another amazing new feature in iOS 15 related to accessibility, per app settings. And it is just like you might think it is. What? I don't even know. What was that about? I'm getting slap happy here. I'm cracking myself up. But basically what this is you can set up settings on an app by app basis. And that is accessibility settings on an app by app basis. So I'm going to go in here and enable a lot of these accessibility settings like smart invert, reduce transparency, larger text. Go in and enable all these for the music app. So it will only apply to the music app and the music app only. So if I open up the App Store, you'll notice it looks totally normal, right? But if I open up music, look what we have here. It is completely different because those per app accessibility settings have been applied only to music. This is such a powerful new tool in iOS 15 for accessibility. And now you can import audiograms to help with hearing in headphones. So to do so, open up accessibility, tap on audio visual, tap on headphone accommodations, enable the switch, tap on custom audio setup, and there you'll see it. The third option, use an audiogram from health to customize your audio. So let's go ahead and try that now. So you can add an audiogram in several different ways. When you tap the Add Audiogram button, you're able to add an audiogram from the camera, from the Photos app, or from the Files app. And that can be actually a PDF if you want it to be. So what an audiogram is, it basically looks like sort of like a graph that measures your hearing capability. And I've created my own audiogram using the Mimi hearing app. You can download that from the App Store. But basically it says that I have slight hearing loss. So, I mean, that's about normal for someone my age. Thankfully, it's not any worse. Frankly, I'm sort of shocked it's not a lot worse given the concerts I used to go to back in the day. But here I'm going to go ahead and just import this audiogram. You see it takes a snapshot just like that, scans it in. And it's not perfect just yet. The graph isn't a one-to-one when imported, but I'm sure it will improve over time. But the point is it can customize your headphone setup to accommodate your hearing loss. And in iOS 15, the Magnifier app has been promoted to a full-time standard standalone application that you can access from the Utilities folder. And this obviously has a lot of uses, being able to zoom in, maybe read smaller text, and it does a whole lot more than just zoom, but there's also different contrasts you can set up, brightness, of course, you can set up filters, you can even take snapshots, temporary snapshots, to zoom in on those snapshots. So Magnifier is a welcome full-time addition to iOS. And now you have new accessibility Memoji accessories. So one such example is the headwear, the helmet, the padded helmet. And you also have oxygen tube. Y'all probably thinking, Jeff, you probably need one of those right now. You sound a little bit out of breath. And you also have a cochlear hearing apparatus as well. And that actually isn't it. It's actually the other in the bottom left-hand corner, if I'm not mistaken. And in iOS 15, there are new voice control languages. The first of which is Chinese. So you can just download that. Second language that you'll find is Chinese Hong Kong. The third language is French. And finally, if I can tap download there, if it'll, all right, there we go. And then finally, you have German to round up the new voice control languages. And in iOS 15, App Store applications gain access to in-app events. These events can be things like live streaming experiences, game competitions, movie premieres, etc. But what's really interesting is the discovery aspect. Users can actually discover your events right from the App Store's various locations. So for instance, you can discover events right from the main product page. You can discover events right from search results as well. Of course, there will be editorial-based content that helps you discover events. And you can also discover events from recommendations. So these in-app events will be available later this fall once iOS 15 actually launches to the public. And also related to the App Store is a new App Store widget that you'll find here. So you have a Today widget in 3 different sizes, and this helps you again to discover what's new in the world of apps and games, and also has some editorial content that you can enjoy as well. Now here's an interesting change. When you search for an app within the App Store, you'll notice that the apps that you already have installed on your device do not show screenshots. So kind of makes sense, right? I mean, if you already have the app, why would you need a screenshot? It's already on your device. So it helps reduce clutter of the App Store, which will help you be able to discover more apps that perhaps you don't already have installed. Pretty interesting change. What do you think? Now let's talk calendars. You now have integrated join buttons built in to the calendar app when joining applications like Zoom. So if you have a Zoom link in there, you're going to see a new join button at the top with the Zoom logo. And yeah, it's a small detail, but I kind of like it. So let's talk camera. First of all, you have a new updated camera app icon. You have a larger lens area. It removes the shutter button from iOS 14, as you can see there. And the little flash is a little bit different as well. What do you think? Which one do you like better? So now you can zoom in Quick Take Video. So of course, Quick Take Video occurs when you press and hold on the shutter button while in photo mode to start a video. And now if you just swipe your finger up or swipe your finger down, you can zoom in or zoom out. There's a new QR code UI that pops up right on the display instead of presenting a banner notification. I like this a lot better. So it tells you Wikipedia, you just tap it and it loads up the website just like that. Okay, so let's talk FaceTime, because FaceTime has received a ton of different improvements and enhancements and changes in iOS 15. Starting with the UI, notice this UI is completely reimagined, redesigned. You have all new buttons, including a new big green FaceTime button to begin a new FaceTime call, along with the to field and suggested contacts. And you'll notice modifications to the FaceTime interface when you're actually in a call as well. So you see the window that displays what other people see. Of course, you have the ability to switch the camera around. And among other things, you have a brand new portrait mode button in the upper left-hand corner. And there's a new call control interface when you're in a call. Just tap on the screen and it reveals that interface right there at the top. Now, a new spatial audio feature creates a sound field that helps conversations flow more naturally. So your friends' voices are going to be spread out just like they're oriented on the screen. So this is going to be super beneficial, obviously, for group FaceTime calls where you have multiple people on screen. You're going to be able to tell which direction the voice is coming from based on that orientation. Now, I mentioned portrait mode. I have it currently on right now, but I can turn it off or on just by tapping the portrait mode button. You can see the difference there on the preview screen. And with portrait mode on, it blurs the background in relation to the subject. Now, you can also enable portrait mode by swiping down, opening up Control Center, going to Video Effects, and enabling portrait mode while FaceTime is running. So let's test this out. Right now, I currently have portrait mode off. And now it's on. You can see the background is blurred just as you would expect. And of course, I have my Memoji there as well. Now, there are several new microphone modes for FaceTime. The voice isolation mode spotlights your voice using machine learning to identify ambient noises in the background, blocking those noises out. Things like dog barks, fire engines, etc. So all you do is open up Control Center, tap the mic mode button, and then choose voice isolation instead of standard, which it defaults to. So let's go ahead and tap on voice isolation, and there we go. It's that easy to switch between those different voice modes. But voice isolation isn't the only mode, of course. There's also wide spectrum mode, and this microphone mode brings every single sound into your call. So it's ideal if you're playing music and you want other people to hear. You simply head over to Control Center, select your voice mode, and choose wide spectrum. Now for FaceTime, a lot of people have been clamoring for a grid view instead of that sort of floating window view that FaceTime does. So to do so, just simply tap on the control interface, select grid layout, and then all the participants will appear as a simple grid instead of the annoying floating window effect when people are talking. Now this is one of my favorite new FaceTime features, the ability to create a link to a FaceTime call. So when you tap create link, you can give the FaceTime call a name. I'm just going to call this one Apple Chat and then tap OK. And now you're able to use the sharing interface to share that link with anyone. So you can email it, put it on Twitter if you want to. I wouldn't advise that, but you can. You can send it via a text message. But the point is, anyone can use that FaceTime link, even non-Apple users, to connect to the conversation. And I'm going to show you that here in just a little bit. So obviously, I'm going to cancel that tweet, and I'm going to send this link via the Messages app. So I'll just tap a contact on Messages. There we go. And send it just like that. And any FaceTime links found in the Messages app are automatically discovered. So now it's a perfect time for me to show you how to join FaceTime from the web using these links. So now I'm just going to tap on that link, and you can see it pops you right into the FaceTime app where I can just tap the join button to join in. So like I said, these links can be used by anybody, Windows users, Android users, because it opens up in a web interface, which is compatible with any phone. So now I'm just going to test this out, simulating what it would be like if I was on an Android device. I'm going to enter my name and then tap continue. It's going to ask for microphone and camera access. And there we go. So this is a web view for that FaceTime conversation, and I can join in just by tapping the join button. And then I'm going to get a notification on my iPhone that Test would like to join this FaceTime, so I can approve Test joining in. So just open up that chat, go ahead and join that conversation. And once I'm in the call, I can allow the other participants that are waiting. Just simply tap on the interface like that. And you see Test wants to join. So go ahead and hit the little green button to approve to allow Test in, which is of course running on the web interface. So there we go. Now I have a FaceTime call going on over the web using the FaceTime link, and it works surprisingly well. Very clear. I'm actually pretty impressed by how well this works. And you can see even details like the call participants, and you can even toggle the camera and microphone right from the web interface. Really cool. And in iOS 15, you can integrate FaceTime calls with calendar invites. So you could just select FaceTime, set a time and date, and then you can invite individuals to that particular meeting, which will use the FaceTime link, and it will automatically generate a FaceTime link for you. So you just tap on join, and you can join right into that FaceTime call. There we go. Now, during the pandemic, you always hear, "Sir, you're on mute." Well, now you actually get alerted when you start talking and your microphone is muted, just like that. And then you can easily tap to unmute right from that notification. And another new iOS 15 FaceTime feature, you can now zoom when you switch to the rear camera while in a call. So 1x, 2x, you can even pinch to zoom just like that. Now let's talk about FaceTime SharePlay integration. One of the key features is Listen Together, which will allow you to listen to Apple Music content directly on FaceTime with your friends. You also have a shared music queue that multiple members of the FaceTime call will be able to contribute to, rearrange, etc. And of course, you'll be able to watch content from the TV app together right there on your FaceTime call. Not quite operational yet in this initial beta, but I will show you a demo of SharePlay here in just a second. Nonetheless, these are very promising features. And you will be able to share your screen with other individuals on the same FaceTime call. Imagine browsing the web together with your friends. I can't wait to try that out. And with multiple device support, you'll be able to connect over FaceTime on your iPhone while watching video on your Apple TV or listening to music on your HomePod. And you'll be able to access your group's messages thread right from the FaceTime controls and choose the mode of communication that matches that exact moment. And Smart Volume will automatically adjust the volume during loud scenes so that you're still able to hear your friends, even when there's a big explosion. And SharePlay will work with third-party apps. In fact, I have an app right here, the 9to5 Player, that has SharePlay integration right now. So I'm going to show you how SharePlay works with a third-party app. In this case, 9to5 Player, right? So let's switch over to FaceTime. I'm going to put FaceTime in picture mode. Then I'm going to reopen 9to5 Player, and look what you see at the top of the screen, SharePlay 9to5 Player. So you just tap on that, and then you'll see a SharePlay button that allows you to automatically SharePlay 9to5 Player or ask each time. But what I want you to pay attention to is the button at the bottom of the screen. Just simply tap on that, and you'll notice that will start the SharePlay session with my FaceTime participants. So I'm going to show you my other iPhone here. You see where it says Join SharePlay? So all I need to do is tap open, and ladies and gentlemen, look what we have here. It's all in sync. We're watching at the same exact time via FaceTime. I pause, you can see Jeff Benjamin pause playback on the other screen. You still see the FaceTime call, the bottom right-hand corner. I can play, Jeff Benjamin resume playback. It's all in sync. So we're able to watch the same thing, comment on what we're seeing via FaceTime. It's so awesome. And of course, both users have the ability to play or pause. You can scrub to another position, and it picks right up in sync. This is a game changer. Thumbs up if you agree. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the Files app. Now you have the ability to use groups within the Files app. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So just tap the ellipsis button at the top. You see all the ways you can sort, But now you see a Use Groups button, tap that, and now it groups all the different types of files. So you have folders, images, PDFs, movies, archives, etc. The Find My network can now display continuous streaming updates for your family and friends to provide an immediate sense of direction, speed, and progress when viewing people's locations. Another new feature coming to iOS 15 is the ability to locate turned off devices. So the Find My network will allow you to locate your iPhone when it's lost, stolen, erased, or even powered off. So watch what happens when I power off my iPhone 12. You'll see a little message at the bottom of the display that says, "Location visible after power off." So I could still use the Find My app to locate this phone. But Apple has taken this to the next level, allowing you to locate your iPhone even after you perform an erase. So say for instance, I put my iPhone into recovery mode and I restore the iOS software. Watch what happens here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this restore right now. All right, so the restore is almost complete. And notice what you're going to find. You're going to find a new message here that says the iPhone is locked to the owner. The location can be seen by its owner. So not only will the Find My network allow you to track this iPhone, even though it's been restored, it also presents a message that makes it evident that this iPhone is still locked, which is a good thing, a good informative notification to help reduce theft or help reduce the potential of someone buying a phone that is still locked without their knowledge. And iOS 15 also has separation alerts so that when you leave a device on the Find My network, you can be notified when those devices are left behind, when you separate from them. So this is super handy so you don't inadvertently leave your keys at a restaurant, for instance. So you'll get a little notification saying, hey, you left this device behind. You might want to come back and get it. And in iOS 15, the Find My network can be used to track AirPods as well, so you can better keep up with your wireless headphones. And there are new Find My widgets to track people or items directly from your home screen. iOS 15 includes enhanced connectivity on 5G, making app experiences faster with 5G connectivity. It means restoring the iCloud backup over cellular is now faster, streaming audio and video is faster, downloading higher quality Apple TV content, syncing photos to iCloud Photos, and updating Apple News Plus articles for offline reading. 5G makes everything faster. iOS 15 features enhanced Wi-Fi assist functionality that will automatically prioritize 5G when Wi-Fi connectivity on networks you visit occasionally are slow, or when you're connected to captive networks or insecure networks. You get faster and safer connectivity in iOS 15. And in iOS 15, you can now make game highlights with the press of the share button on a compatible controller like the Sony DualSense wireless controller for PS5. You can quickly save a video clip of up to the last 15 seconds of gameplay using just that one button on your hardware controller. And there are also new Game Center widgets to quickly access your recently played games and to jump right into them. There are also widgets that allow you to quickly see what your friends are playing. So let's add the large continue playing widget to our home screen just like that. And now I can simply tap on one of those games and pick up right where I left off. So NBA 2K21, it is. Now we talked about focuses in depth earlier, but the focus for gaming is special because that allows you to turn that focus on automatically whenever it senses or whenever iOS 15 senses that you have a wireless controller connected. So we're going to go ahead and set up this focus, and here it is, turn on automatically when a controller is connected. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the DualSense controller and watch, there we go. There's our gaming focus activated automatically. And this is more for the iPad, but now controllers can navigate around iOS and of course, as I showed you earlier, invoke recording. But yeah, this works much better on the iPad running iPadOS 15. Now let's talk about the updated Health app. Now you can share health data with others. You'll find a new sharing tab at the bottom of the interface that allows you to share health data with your family and friends. And it's very high level and secure, so each topic is shared, not the nitty-gritty details, and the information is always encrypted, and you can stop sharing at any time. So let me show you how to do this. All you do is tap the Share with Someone button, and then you can search for a contact within the Contacts app to share with. I've already done that here, so I just tap on See Suggested Topics, and that allows me to choose different topics to notify individuals that I'm sharing with. So cardio fitness notifications, headphone notifications, noise notification, irregular rhythm notifications, high heart rate, etc. You could also choose activity and mobility, cardiovascular health, and other useful health topics like blood oxygen levels. All right, so here is a preview of what people will see, or what my shared users will see, I should say, to give them a nice high-level overview of how I'm doing health-wise. So this could be very good if you have elderly parents or grandparents, keeping tabs on how they're doing at a very high level. So you can see all the various health trends there as well. And once you're finished, just tap done, and then you'll see on the receiving end, Jeff wants to share their health data, and then you see under the sharing button, the sharing with you. Just tap on view. Let's try that again. There we go. So Jeff wants to share the following health data, all that data that we selected, just tap accept. It doesn't work just quite yet here in this beta, but you get the point. And again, just a reminder, you can also share notifications. While they're not immediate, they may take a while to appear on the recipient's phone, but they will receive them. You can also share health trends with messages. So that's going to be cool. And you can share health data directly with your doctor as well. New for iOS 15 are trends. Now, trend analysis in the health app lets you see at a glance how a given health metric is progressing, whether it's increasing, decreasing, or staying the same over time. And you can choose to receive notifications when a new trend has been detected in your health data. So this really just gives you that nice, quick at a glance look at how you're doing. Also new for the health app is walking steadiness. It uses custom algorithms to assess your balance, your strength, your gait, and that will help you realize whether or not you're at risk for a fall. So first of all, you want to set up and confirm your health details, and then it tells you the various levels of walking steadiness. Okay means your walking steadiness is typical, you don't have an increased risk of falling, and then it goes all the way to very low, which could indicate that you're at a high risk for falling in the next 12 months. So you can turn those notifications on, and hopefully it will help you mitigate this issue to help prevent falls. And you also get lab results enhancements, and this makes it easier to review your lab results right from the health app. And the health app will also store COVID-19 immunizations and test results, which can be super handy. And finally, you can receive highlights that show your blood glucose levels during sleep as well as during exercise. Now, the Home app gets some enhancements in iOS 15. You have Siri-enabled accessories so third parties can integrate Hey You Know Who into their products. And for HomeKit secure video users, you now have package detection. So now HomeKit connected cameras can detect when there are packages and notify you that there's a package on your porch, for instance. So you see under notifications, the new packages are detected switch. You just turn that on and your days of missing out on important packages are over. You can see there, the Eufy Cam detected a package. Actually, it's not really a package, it's just some random boxes. But you get the point, right? Now let's talk about maps. So what happens in iOS 15 when you keep on zooming out of the Maps app? Well, instead of just a flat plane, you see the sphere of the Earth just like that. So you have sort of like a Google Earth view right here within the Maps app, which is super cool. It makes it easy to get to specific locations in no time flat. There's also a hyper detailed new map experience within iOS 15's Maps app. It is incredible. This is one of the most impressive new features in iOS 15. Look at the detail here. You got palm trees, you have lane markings, you have turning lanes, you have crosswalks, you even have the text on the street. It's insanely detailed. I mean, wow. So if you go into 3D mode, you can see the buildings are even rendered in great 3D detail. Now, of course, these hyper detailed maps haven't rolled out everywhere yet, but if you check cities like San Francisco, you can see it. Now, there's also new driving features that take advantage of this hyper detail. So imagine as you're navigating, seeing turning lanes with the actual arrows painted on the road and actually seeing exchanges with overpasses that you could see in 3D space. Really helps you gain context of where you're going and get a better idea as you're navigating around. This is incredible, and it really steps up the Maps app. See, look at that. Look at that overpass that is in 3D space. Again, helping you to gain context as to where you are as you navigate around with the Maps app. And now you can finally choose when to leave or arrive by with Maps navigation. So very Waze-like. So I'm going to start navigation here. And now you see where it says from, the location, and leaving now. Just tap leaving now and you can change that up to leave in the future or to arrive by a specific time. So say I want to arrive by 8:40. I can just go ahead and do that. Actually, let's make it 8:45. There we go. So it's going to estimate when I need to leave. So just tap done. So I need to leave by 8:29 if I'm taking this route to get there on time. And you also have immersive walking directions. So when, say, you get out of a subway and you need to know what direction to go, you can use augmented reality to do just that. And there are completely redesigned place cards that make it easy to find and interact with important info for businesses, details about cities, physical features like mountain ranges, and more. And it's now easier to discover guides in the all-new Guides Home location, which stores all of the guides in one nicely organized location. And there are tons of guides depending on your particular interest. And what's cool is that you can break these down from a worldwide perspective into a particular regional perspective. So say I wanted guides on, I don't know, let's say London, for instance. Well, it's going to give me all those guides about London in one place. And in the new Maps app, you have improved search. So I'm going to search for some restaurants here in San Francisco. And notice now you can actually filter on all sorts of different categories. So if you want to make sure they're open now or a certain price, you can filter on that. But not just that. Notice what you can do. You can scroll through here and you can look for specific cuisines. So if I want chicken and burgers, I can do that. I can say sort by ratings, by distance. Just a much easier way to filter to find a specific restaurant that you're looking for. And you have an updated user profile, which stores all sorts of things like your favorites, your guides, and more. It also houses the updated Maps contribution, so you can add to Maps, report street issues, etc. And it also holds ratings and preferences that directly pertain to navigation. Now, this is just a very small update, but you'll notice a new pin animation that sort of wiggles back and forth. You'll also notice that the Spain map is updated with look around, so you can actually go in there like Google Street View and look around the city. I love look around. The more places it can be, the better, right? And you'll find in the settings the ability to use hands-free profile when available. So you can just go up here, navigation and guidance, use HFP when available. So basically this setting forces Maps to simulate a phone call when making its announcements. And then you also have settings rate your route. So you'll see that little setting toggle within the Maps app preferences. So the Mail app gets a very important new update, Mail Privacy Protection, and this can be enabled in Mail app settings. So Mail Privacy Protection will hide your IP address and load remote content privately in the background. So this will help, for instance, to prevent things like tracking pixels, which can tell if you've opened an email or not. A lot of people don't realize that that's a thing, and obviously that's an encroachment on privacy, and that's just one of the things that Mail Privacy Protection aims to stop. So Memoji gets a big update in iOS 15, starting with new clothing features. There's also new Memoji stickers that have that clothing built in. And now you can choose a different color for your left and right eye. And this is something that actually is a real thing. Maybe you've seen people with different eye colors in each of their eyes. It's something called heterochromia, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So you have your main and your secondary color, just like that. And you'll find new glasses for Memoji characters. So you have the star glasses and 3 different pairs of star glasses. You also have the heart glasses, 3 different pairs there. And you have sort of the old school glasses, 3 different pairs there. And what's cool is that you can choose different frame and lenses combinations. So you have the first selection to choose your frames. And I'm going to make it like, let's go ahead and switch up the frames to make it blue. There we go. And now you can change up your lens color as well, separate from the frames. Lots of customization here in iOS 15. And there's also multicolored headwear as well. So you have hats. You could choose those. Some of the hats will have the ability to incorporate 2 colors. Other hats will have the ability to incorporate 3, although that's a lot more rare. But you'll see some of the hats have the 3 color combination like this one right here. And there's a few others as well. And of course, you still have the accessibility options that I talked about earlier. You have the padded helmet, and you have the oxygen tube. And of course, you have the cochlear inputs, which I got it right this time, selected the right image right there. So the Messages app got a ton of new updates in iOS 15, starting with images, in particular image collages. So when I add 3 images to a new message, you'll notice that they're presented in a collage form so that you can see all 3 images at the same time, and you can tap on those images individually and load them up. And of course you can swipe through each as well, just like that, in the collage. That's a really nice addition to the Messages app, allowing you to see multiple images. And of course, you can provide tap backs to individual images if you wish to do that. And I'll just tap back this one. Now you also have image stacks, and these differ from a collage because they're stacked on top of each other. This happens when you have 4 or more images shared at once. So there you go. It tells you how many photos are in the stack. See the difference between the collage and the stack? 5 photos there. The cool thing about the stack though, watch what happens when you swipe on the stack. That is such a cool animation. And you can swipe left or right, almost like you're sorting through physical photos in your hand. What a great new feature that is. And just like a collage, you can also tap on the stack to open it up and view that stack by swiping through each image like that in a larger view. And of course, you can provide tap backs to individual items in the stack. And notice how that tap back is presented when you go back to the stack view. So you can see that tap back follows the actual image it's assigned to. Now you also have an image grid view. So when opening up your stack, you tap the grid in the upper right hand corner, and that allows you to view all the images in the stack in a grid view. And of course, your tap backs are attached as well. And you can open up individual items right there in the grid view as well. Provide tap backs to those if you want to also. What do you guys think about these new features in the Messages app? Let me know down below in the comments with your thoughts and observations. Now there's also a new FaceTime glyph in the upper right hand corner of your conversation, so you can quickly start a FaceTime call with just a couple of taps. So you tap once and then you choose between audio and video like that. Now there's also a new user info sheet. Just tap the name. Yes, indeed, one tap is all that's needed to bring up the information view for that particular user. You can call, make video calls, get more info, see all the photos and links that were shared, and you can manage your alerts and read receipts right from that page as well. Now there's a new share automatically toggle. And with this enabled, content shared in the Messages app, like photos, like music, can automatically be shared in other apps. Now, when this is disabled, if you pin content, which I'll show you a little bit later, those pinned items will still appear in other applications. So here's what some of that shared content looks like in the Music app. And like I showed you a little bit earlier, there are new shared areas for things like documents, locations, and more. So in this example, I just sent a document, and I'm also going to share a location as well. Now watch what happens when you open up the info view. That document appears in a new shared area within that info view. So you can quickly view all the documents that you receive from this person in one handy area. And whenever receiving photos in the Messages app, you'll notice a handy new download button to allow you to easily add it to your photo library. So all you do is just simply tap that button and then tap Save to Photo Library, and that saves that image to your library. There's also new SMS filtering for all of our friends in Brazil, and this will filter unwanted SMS messages, organize them into promotional areas, junk areas, etc. And there are new notification options and messages for India and China as well. And this is very subtle, but there are new glyphs for the App Store and the camera. And speaking of subtle, there is an updated voice messages playback glyph. Notice the difference there. And you can now scrub voice messages. Simply open it up, play, and scrub through just like that. And you can translate directly in messages. Just long press on a bubble, tap translate, and there you go. Definitely don't let foreign language hold you back from having a good conversation. And now let's talk about Shared with You, which really gets the content from the Messages app to other places around iOS. And we're going to talk about that right now. But first of all, let's start off with pins. So now you can pin items within your conversations, and those will show up as pinned items in the Shared for You section of the various apps that work with Shared for You. So for instance, in the TV app, so someone sends you a TV show in the Messages app, well, that shows up under Shared with You in the TV app. The same thing goes for Apple Music. Someone sends you one of their favorite songs, that song shows up under Shared with You within the Listen Now section of the Music app. And the cool thing about Share with You is that you can continue the conversation simply by tapping the link in those corresponding apps. That opens up a message reply field and you can reply directly. Share for You also works in the Photos app, and predictably it also works with Safari. So I'm going to share this and I send it, I pinned it, and notice where it ends up in Safari. So open up Safari, open up the start page, and there you go. Shared with You. And of course, it works in Apple News as well. There's the Share with You in Apple News. So again, taking all this content from Messages, getting it in the places it needs to be, including the podcast app. Share with You. See the trend there? So that's a really interesting new feature that's going to make the Messages less of a closed circuit and really sharing all that data with other applications. So of course, you're going to find a new Shared with You section in the Messages app preferences. So we're going to go there now, go to settings, messages. There you go, Shared with You. So this will allow content shared with you in Messages to automatically appear in other apps, and you can select those apps on or off one by one. So if you don't want Share with You content showing up in Safari, you don't have to have it. Now the Music app gets a great new feature, spatial audio, but not just spatial audio, you have dynamic head tracking with spatial audio. So when I put my AirPods Max on my head, I can move my head around and the sound comes from different places as I move around. It is amazing. There's also a new spatialized stereo, which sort of emulates spatial audio for apps that don't actually support spatial audio. It's kind of weird, but it sounds decent, right? And there's also, of course, what we talked about earlier, Shared with You, built right into the Messages app. So when someone sends you a song via Messages, it shows up, not shares up, here within the Music app. And there's also better Apple Music integration within the Photos app. So you have photo memories. You can use suggested songs from Apple Music or search for and add your own songs if you'd like to do that. We'll talk more about the Photos app a little bit later, but it's great to be able to have access to the Apple Music library for your memories. Now you'll notice a new pop-up menu when tapping on the artist name in the Now Playing interface. That allows you to get to album or artist directly. And there's an updated folder icon for untitled playlists. The News app gets a slightly redesigned news feed. So you get new margins along with new footers that incorporate the publish time, source, and ellipsis buttons. I think it's an easier to read, cleaner look with those new margins in particular. It helps to break apart each story into their own separate entity instead of looking like everything's blended together. And obviously, like we talked about earlier, Shared with You is built in. You have under Following a Shared with You section that houses all the news items shared in the Messages app from your friends and family. Okay, so let's talk about Notes because this is a massive update for Notes. You now get tag support, so just add a hashtag and then type your tag after that, and you'll notice it automatically transforms into a tag. So Apple, press return, and bam, it's a tag now. So everything that includes this Apple tag will be grouped together in your tag cloud or your tag library list, I guess you could say. We'll talk about it in a second. But here you see software. Now I have a tag for that. I'm going to add another, and we'll call this one Watch. All right, so there's our tags. Now you can also use QuickType with tags. So now you see, just add a hashtag, and QuickType will automatically do the rest for me, just like that. So just tap on iPhone, and there we go. You also have the tag browser that I alluded to just a second ago. So this is on your main page, and that will show all the tags that you have created, and you can quickly jump to articles or jump to notes, I should say, that contain those tags. So here's all tags, but I can filter in on just tags with Apple. There you go. Or I can add multiple tags together like that. So it has to have Apple and iPhone or just iPhone, but you can see how incredibly powerful this can be to really organize the Notes app in a way that we've never been able to do before. Now, I don't know if you could tell I'm hyped about this new change, but I am hyped about the addition of having tags in the Notes app. Previously, the Notes app was just this cluttered mess for me, But this really like works with my brain, and I'm going to be able to use the Notes app in a very power user like way going forward thanks to tags. Now let's talk about some other tag benefits. You can create a new note with the tag simply by selecting the tag in the tag library and then tapping the new note button in the bottom right hand corner automatically adds the tag at the bottom of the note. So I can type my note and that is saved under that tag. Now there's also custom smart folders, and these organize notes based on tags. So again, power user type of procedure right here. So I'm going to name this smart folder Apple, and I'm going to key in on Mac. So call it Apple Macintosh. So now all tags that contain Mac will automatically appear in this folder. And you can see it right here. So I tap that one, Mac's there, and Mac is there. Super powerful new feature having those smart folders. So I'm going to create another note with the word Mac. Notice now you have 4 because that's added automatically to that smart folder. Now if I delete Mac, it goes back to 3. So let's talk about shared notes. Now there's a new activity view to be able to view all activity in a shared note. So first of all, we have to create a shared note. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to do so from the Messages app. Send it to Ducky Benjamin. There we go. All right, so now we have a shared note with Ducky. So you can see Ducky's typing here in that note. Let's talk about some video ideas, shall we? And it looks like he's on board. I'm hyped as well. Oh, there's his signature. Okay, so now I want to type a message here. Love the duck, by the way. Now let's look at the new activity view. So tap the share button, tap show all activity. And look what we have here. You can see the edits I've made, see the edits Ducky made, see when I share the note, see when my participants join the shared note. It's very verbose information there. So again, Notes is super powerful in iOS 15. You also have highlights. So if you swipe from left to right, you can see the edits based on user. And there are also mentions within Notes. So now I can actually mention a person in a shared note. Look, QuickType automatically gives me the options there. And now you'll get a notification when someone mentions you, just like this. Jeff mentioned you. What an awesome new feature that is. So needless to say, I'm going to be using Notes a lot more in iOS 15. What do you guys think? But also Quick Notes. So if you're an iPad user using the new Quick Note feature on iPad with the Apple Pencil, we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Also check out Miles's video if you haven't already. You can access those easily. Now there's a new settings within the Notes app. So go to Notes app settings. You can enable or disable Notify Me for mentions, and you can change the setting for auto tag convert. I definitely recommend leaving that enabled because tags are awesome. For notifications, you get a new look and a new style for notifications. You get a larger contact photo, larger app icon. It's easier to identify where the notification is originating from. It's definitely a more modern and cleaner look than before. And now the swipe to clear notifications seems a little bit easier in iOS 15 than before. And of course, there is the notification summary. So the notification summary, as we explained before, is a place where all of your notifications that aren't important or that aren't pertinent at the moment will reside. So basically all non-urgent notifications will go into the summary and then be presented to you at convenient times, defaulting to 2 times a day. So iOS will help you to choose apps for your summary based on notification average. So here I don't really have a lot of notifications coming in, so it's kind of skewed, but basically this will allow you to see where are my notifications coming from, and that will help you make the decision as to what apps to add to your notification summary. So now it's just a matter of tapping the Add Apps button at the bottom, and now you can choose when your scheduled summary items will arrive. So like I said, by default, it gives you a morning and then an evening, but you can add additional items to your summary as well, additional time periods to your scheduled summary so that you're presented with notifications that are non-urgent at these various times. So right now I have 8 a.m., 6 p.m., and 7 p.m. So I can remove that one, just keep 8 and 6 turn on. So here's the interface we saw earlier. The other thing we just saw was sort of like a setup wizard. This is what we normally see when we go to our schedule summary. You can choose how many times a day and then add those various schedules. And here you can use the switches to enable or disable the various apps that you have installed on your iPhone. Now, when setting permissions for notifications, you're going to notice a new permissions dialog box. So now you can allow immediate notifications, add that app to your scheduled summary, or don't allow any notifications. And then when you go into the notification settings for individual apps, you'll see notification delivery. You can choose between immediate delivery and scheduled delivery using the scheduled summary. So do you see where this is going? Really, it's all about reducing notification fatigue. When you're just receiving notifications left and right, now you receive them at a certain time and you review them at that time. You can also easily mute notifications right from Notification Center. Just simply swipe and then choose mute for 1 hour, mute for today, or select deliver immediately. So again, go to options. Now I can unmute or choose deliver immediately. And now you have muting suggestions as well. So when an app continuously bombards you with notifications, it'll pop up and ask you if you want to mute notifications from that particular app. And now notifications from people across your communication apps now feature contact photos to make them easier to identify. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this will go down, but one thing Apple could do is basically take all the social media handles and apply the contact photo to any notifications related to that handle. And of course, now apps can designate themselves as time sensitive for alerts. So basically, time sensitive alerts and direct messages are always delivered immediately outside of the scheduled summary. And now you can quickly access app settings as well directly from notifications. Just swipe, select options, and now you'll see direct app settings and the settings app preferences. So here are the Twitter settings for the Twitter app, but I can also go into the notification preferences within the settings app. Just tap view settings and there you go. The phone app has one really cool feature, a new tone when muting and unmuting. Now let's talk the Photos app because there's some really exciting stuff going on here. Of course, we have shared with you, which we talked about earlier. These are photos that originate from the Messages app. And now you have a richer info pane, which you can access by swiping up or just by tapping the info button. You can see this image was taken a long time ago with an iPhone 3GS. That really goes way back, right? I thought that was just the best thing since sliced bread, but gives you all that information on your ISO, your f-stop, the resolution. You can even go in and adjust the date and the time when the photo was shot. Now you also get faster iCloud library sync for photos, and you get limited photo library improvements in third-party apps. So now these apps can offer simpler selection workflows when you grant access to specific content in your photo library. You also get machine learning based people identification improvements, and you also get people naming workflow improvements using tag photos in a grid format. And here's something really handy. When you're using the image picker, you can now select images in a specific order. See that number 1 there? So that's the first image you select, and then you can select your second, third, and so on. So that'll be the second one listed, third, so 1, 2, 3. So they will appear in that order, just like this. It's a simple yet much appreciated new addition. And for memories, you can suggest less often, feature less, and confirm. And we touched on this a little bit earlier, but you also get smart photo analysis when you go to the info panel. And this can use Siri knowledge to identify items within that photo, like we mentioned earlier, flowers, animals, locations, etc. And now there's a new updated live photos effects menu. So in the upper left hand corner, just tap live and you could choose your various effects. Now a couple of subtle changes in the photo editor. You get an updated rotation glyph and you get an updated filters glyph. Okay, so let's talk about the expanded memories section of photos. So in iOS 15, memories get a lot of love. Now you have the ability to add Apple Music directly to your memories, as we spoke about earlier in the Apple Music section. So going a little bit deeper, memories now will suggest automatically songs based on the content of your memories. And these are all done on device for privacy's sake. Now, also, you're going to notice new memory mixes, and this allows you to, on the fly, change the song to go along with each memory, and the timing of each photo will change based on the song cadence. Now, the overall look of Memories has a fresh new coat of paint, and you have a fresh new look with new animated cards with smart adaptive titles, new animation and transition styles, and multiple image collages for that cinematic feel. And you also have cinematography inspired memory looks. There are 12 new memory looks that add to the mood of each photo and video, applying just the right contrast and color adjustment. These aren't canned filters, but this provides real color grading to each photo and video. And you have this interactive interface to tap to pause, replay the last photo, skip to the next, or jump ahead, and the music keeps playing and the timing adjusts automatically to keep the transitions on the right beat. And all this is done without needing to recompile the memory. It's all done on the fly. And you also have a new browse view, which allows you to view all the memory content in a bird's eye view, where you can add, remove, or change the memory duration, or jump ahead to another part of your memory. And you have new memory types like child-focused memories or improved pet memories. It can even recognize individual dogs and cats. And you also have a very Netflix-inspired Watch Next that appears after the memory completes. So you have a little countdown, and you also have a little preview of the next memories up to bat. It really feels like you're binge watching your favorite series on Netflix. All right, so reminders in iOS 15. Like Notes, you have tags for reminders. So I'm gonna put in a new reminder and watch what happens here when I use a hashtag and then put some text afterwards and then press return. Look, it turns into a tag automatically, just like you have with the Notes app. So I can go into details. There's also a tag section within the details of each reminder, and I can add tags that way if I want to, just like that. And I go ahead and add. Now you also have the tag browser as well, right at the bottom of the Reminders app interface. This allows you to quickly filter on various reminders based on tags. So I can mix and match tags, select just one, select multiple, to quickly filter reminders. Now I also have custom smart lists just like you do in Notes, so I can give it a list name, give it a color, give it a little icon, and then I just tap making a smart list, and then I can add my tags to that smart list. But not just on tags, you can make smart lists based on other parameters as well, like date, time, flag. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on flag. There we go. Combine that with a tag, and now you have some really powerful filters here. So when anything is tagged with 9 to 5 Mac and also flagged, it's going to show up in that smart reminder called Apple. So let's go ahead and make sure that happens. So I have both the YouTube and 9 to 5 Mac tag on this particular reminder, and it's flagged. So it's going to show up underneath the Apple smart list. And there we go. Really powerful. Now you can also easily delete completed reminders just by tapping the clear button at the top. When viewing those completed reminders, you have 4 options: older than a month, older than 6 months, older than a year, or all completed, and it easily delete your completed reminders. Now, there's also improved natural language support, so I can do things like brainstorm ideas every other afternoon, and watch what it does automatically right there in my QuickType. Suggested time tomorrow, 3 p.m. every 2 days. So definitely smart natural language support. There's also expanded suggested attributes like tags, and you can announce reminders with Siri on AirPods, of course, using the new announce notifications option within the notification preferences. So there you go. Super nice feature. Now for ScreenTime, you have downtime on demand. And what this will do allows you to enable downtime without having to follow a schedule. So you just want downtime enabled? Well, now you can do so like that. Now let's talk about Safari. You now get a streamlined tab bar in Safari. So let's open it up. You'll notice the tab bar is now at the bottom of the screen, and that will disappear as you scroll. But when you scroll back up, you'll notice the tab bar reappears down at the bottom of the display. Now, the nice thing about it being at the bottom instead of the top is that it's easily reachable with your fingers. So you don't have to stretch on larger phones in order to reach that tab bar. So you can just tap the tab button to easily view your open tabs. Now, there's also an integrated smart search field. So that allows you to not only search but also to enter URLs just like this. But in this example, I'm just going to do a Google search for Sonnet. So just tap, and there we go. So let's find Sonnet Technologies, one of my favorite companies there. And there we go. Now let's talk about tab groups, because this is a relatively new concept for Safari. But basically the idea of tab groups is to group multiple tabs together, either via the open tabs you have already or by creating an empty tab group. So now I'll just tap new tab from the existing 6 tabs, and I'm going to give the group a name. So I'm just going to call it 9 to 5 appropriately. And there it goes. It puts all those open tabs in the 9 to 5 group, and I could tap like that to switch between the start page and the 9 to 5 group, just like that. So now I'm going to open up a few additional like-minded sites, and you can probably guess the theme of this tab group based on the sites I have open here. So now I'm going to create that new tab group based on these 3 tabs. Just tap that. I'm going to call it EVs, and then tap OK. So now I have EVs and 9 to 5 Mac tab groups open at the same time, so I can switch between tabs in a group, or I can switch between tab groups, just like that. Super powerful new feature in Safari, and I think this is going to go a long way towards making it easier to stay organized within Safari, so you don't just have this massive amount of cluttered tabs. Now, like on last year's macOS Big Sur, you now get the customized start page here on iOS 15, and this will sync via iCloud, so you can add your favorites, frequently visited, Siri suggestions, privacy report, toggle all those on or off, and you can also add your own custom wallpaper to your start page. So let's go ahead and customize this guy. Of course, you have the drag handles so you can move those around as well, but I'm going to turn off a lot of these guys and just make our start page really simple, straightforward, and to the point. That looks good, so let's go ahead and try that out. And there you go. What do you guys think? Let me know. And you have new privacy protections as well. So now your IP address is hidden from known trackers and websites that you visit. And now, look, you can swipe between tabs just by swiping on the tab bar like that. Super handy. It's almost like a 2-finger swipe with a magic mouse on the Mac. I love this. And if you want to open up a new tab, simply swipe to the last and swipe to the left one last time. And it's been a long time coming, but we finally have pull to refresh in Safari. Now you also have web extensions on iOS. So if you go to Settings, Safari, you'll see a new extensions section that allow you to add extensions from the App Store to customize the way that Safari works and the way that Safari looks. Now you also have voice search integrated into the address bar, so just tap it and then you start your search terms, and now you can browse directly to websites using only your voice. And don't forget the awesome tab overview grid that allows you to quickly view all your tabs in a nice grid so you can see everything at the same time. And of course, you can easily swipe to dismiss on any of those open tabs. But I just love this grid now because it's easier to see everything at once. So let's go ahead and dismiss something just by swiping like that. And there's a new reload button or refresh button. Just tapping the ellipsis, you'll see that reload button and an updated request desktop website icon. We'll have much more on Safari in an upcoming video. Now let's talk about shortcuts. You have cross-device management now, so you can manage shortcuts on your Mac, on your iPad, on your iPhone, and you have improved sharing, so you can share shortcuts as easily as sharing a link and download them for your own management without complicated security settings. And you'll be happy to find a smarter shortcuts editor that will actually prompt you for your next actions. So you can easily add those next actions in there as you build your shortcut. And you also find a new Create Shortcut UI that has more logical placement of important features. Spotlight Search now brings together all the information you're looking for in one rich result. And you have intelligent photo search, so you can search for flower photos, for instance, and it pulls it right from the Photos app. So you see the Photos app icon indicating the source, and I have a live photo. I can play that back right from Spotlight Search results. Indeed, Spotlight is much more useful in iOS 15. You also have web images search, so I can search for something like crocodile photos, which is totally random. But nonetheless, here we go. So I can just tap on one of those, pull up my crocodile photo search, just like that. And now you have lock screen access for search. So notice right here, allow access when locked. Notice it says today view and search. So what does this mean? Well, I can invoke Spotlight and search it directly from the lock screen, even when my iPhone is locked. You also have improved App Store search, so I can search and download an app directly from Spotlight, just like that. That is so nice. I've been wanting that for a long time, and it's finally here. And now when you search for an app in Spotlight, you can long press and delete that app directly from Spotlight. iOS 15 brings system-wide translation everywhere. So all you do is select some text like this, and then from the copy-paste menu, simply tap Translate. And there you go. Look at the pop-up that you get. So you can play back, copy the translation, change your language, add to your favorites, open in the Translate app. Such a cool feature to have everywhere within iOS 15. This is a game changer for communication. Now let's talk about the redesigned conversations within the Translate app. Now they're more like text bubbles, so it groups together the different translations to make it easy to read. This is how it used to look. So I'd say that's a huge improvement. Now there's also auto translate, so this will keep translation going during a conversation.
Hello, what time is it?
So the translation just continues.
What time do you want to go to the store?
And this allows you to continue your conversation. You don't have to invoke the translation again, just keep speaking.
Buenos dias.
It really is an awesome new feature. And you have a new face-to-face view when you're holding your iPhone out so that you and a person that speaks a foreign language can communicate face-to-face. And there's easier language selection via the handy drop-down menus. So we'll select Korean and we'll keep it on English. Now let's talk voice memos.
Have you subscribed to 9 to 5 Mac yet on YouTube?
So you can adjust playback speed with ease. Just use the simple slider here. And you can also enable skip silence.
If not, then have you subscribed to 9 to 5 Mac yet on YouTube? If not, then I highly recommend you do so because we're going to have a whole bunch of new content very soon.
In iOS 15, you'll find an updated and much more modern looking Apple Pay payment sheet. You also have keys functionality, which allows you to use your iPhone as a house key or as a hotel key. Simply tap to unlock, similarly to how you use Apple Pay now. And although details are still a little bit vague, you'll also be able to store your ID cards like your driver's license. And there's an updated setting to hide expired passes and settings wallet in Apple Pay. It's also much easier to discover your card number simply by tapping this button here. Now let's talk weather. Super impressive update here. You have the updated reversed icon. You also have a brand new design, which is completely rebuilt to incorporate dark sky functionality among other things. So this design is just impeccable. You notice the beautiful animated header at the top. Of course, you have your hourly forecast. And when there's precipitation in the cards, that will be replaced by precipitation information. I'll show you that in a second. Below your hourly forecast, you'll have your 10-day forecast, and these could be rearranged depending on what's actually happening live in your area. And I'll show you an example of that. But below that, you have air quality details. You can tap on that to get more information. And then below that, you have your temperature details with a map. We'll see that map here in just a second, but it's awesome, needless to say. And you also have all sorts of little stats like UV index, sunset, wind, rainfall, feels like, humidity, visibility, pressure. This thing is jam-packed with information. Way better than before. Now let's talk about the weather maps because that is one of the tentpole features of this update. So here, when I tap on a map, you have the temperature filter enabled. You can tap the little button here to view all your locations you have configured, and it'll show the temperature in all those different locations. Nice to get at a glance. You can of course tap, that'll move you over on the map to that area and show you the temperature in that area. Really slick. So it's like the Maps app incorporated with weather. Now if I tap this button, I have my various layers. So temperature is what's selected now, but I also have precipitation and air quality. So you'll see the map change dynamically, and all the areas will be updated with air quality ratings. So I'll go ahead and switch over to a different one. Let's choose Cupertino, and air quality is pretty decent over in Cupertino. but you can find other areas, little pockets, where the air quality isn't as good. Now, you also have next hour precipitation notifications, so you can see how the weather app dynamically updates with the drizzle starting in 6 minutes notification at the top. And you see precipitation. You also see that beautiful animation. We'll talk about that in a second. But now you see things are happening here. And this weather map, the precipitation layer, will actually show an hourly forecast that's animated as well. So what you see here is just a wildly more information-dense weather app than before. It is hands down a huge improvement over what we had in iOS 14. So much more information, and like I said, notifications, you can go here and edit your notifications. So for all your various locations you're interested in, you can turn on notifications, and just like dark sky, you'll get a notification when rain is about to begin. And of course, you have all those beautiful animated backgrounds. Notice how the rain splashes off the various cells. So ladies and gentlemen, I was not kidding, was I? That literally was a metric ton of new changes and features for iOS 15. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this, and let me know if you actually watched all 2 hours of this, because if you did, you are without a doubt the biggest of the biggest iOS 15 and 9to5Mac fans out there. Again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned to this channel because we have tons of new content coming up. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac. Special thanks to Mac Stadium for sponsoring 9to5Mac. For nearly a decade, Mac Stadium has been solely focused on providing developers and Mac enthusiasts with customized Apple-centric solutions. And later this summer, Mac Stadium is taking it a step further with an exciting partnership with Teradici. Working with Apple, this collaboration leverages Mac Stadium's cloud-hosted Mac infrastructure to streamline and accelerate the delivery of Teradici CAS with PCOIP support to Mac customers across the globe. Click the link in the description for more details, and again, special thanks to Mac Stadium for sponsoring 9to5Mac.